this computer. Okay. Let's change screens. Okay, I think everything's working. Thank you for joining me, and hello to everybody. Hey, Mark. Hey, Carol. Hey, London. Okay, we've got Canada, Texas, Mark. I know where you're from, and I always forget. I'm going to say California, but I know I'm going to be wrong. Hey, Jerry, New Jersey. Okay. Upstate New York. Yes. Okay. Right, now we've got a good group of people coming, but there's still some people joining. So I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes. But one thing I'm going to say, and I know I looked at the registrations and I can see the names that are here right now. For those of you, this is my warning, okay? This session really is for Facebook ad newbies. So if you're a former client of mine, or you've worked with me in the past, or you're working with me right now, this session may not be for you. I'm going to go over old ground. I'm not going to be talking specifically about ads right now for you, okay? This is really for people who've had very little experience on Facebook ads, or they've tried and failed themselves. So you're welcome to stay, but what I'm saying for you right now is, if you think that this might be a waste of your time, then now's the time to walk away, because the rest of this session really is about focusing on Facebook ads for newbies, understanding the pitfalls, understanding the mistakes that you can make, and how to avoid some of those mistakes. And I'm not going to talk too much about the technical details of Facebook ads as I run them for my clients. So going forward, if you understand that, then that's cool. But yeah, certainly you're welcome to stick around, but it really is a session for newbies. This is a session I've done before in the past, and I just, I don't want to waste your time. So yeah, Mark, that's a great idea, mate. I think you're probably, you could better spend your time elsewhere. And there's probably a couple other people that I'll let you make that decision for yourself. But this session really is about ads for newbies and understanding how ads can be a pitfall, and how you can go forward and not waste your money and where you go. So let me talk about what I'm going to talk about today. So firstly, we're going to discuss the most common issues with Facebook ads, why your ads maybe today that you're running yourself are wasting your money, what is a cold, a warm, and a remarketing audience, what I personally never ever pay Facebook for and why, and what you can do to fix your ads if you are running ads yourself today. So that's the target, and that's where we're going to walk through, but this really is a beginner's session for Facebook ads. Okay, so I'm just going to jump into it and go from there. So for a lot of people who've tried Facebook ads themselves, and I can put my hand up and say, I did this too, right? Facebook ads didn't work for me, right? They didn't work because I didn't know who to target. I was targeting the wrong people and asking them to do the wrong thing. I've just had a question pop up while I'm talking. The Facebook ads and Instagram ads are the same thing. They run from the same platform. So if you're interested in running ads on Instagram, then that's the same deal. Okay, keep going. So when you're targeting the wrong people and asking them to do the wrong thing. Now, what I mean by that, and I used to do this myself, and I see people do it today, and I see people get frustrated by it. And I guess that comes from inexperience and just not having the knowledge. So the question is, you've got a great website, you've set it up, you're just going to send people to your website and they're going to buy stuff, right? So you get an ad set up to send people to your website so that they buy things. That's just not how it works, okay? Ads don't sell to new people, certainly not for art, okay? So you need to understand that from day one when you're making ads on Facebook. I actually don't recommend to any of my clients that they do any sales related ads for at least 6 to 12 months, sometimes beyond that, right? You need to have a critical mass of people, and we'll talk about that critical mass later. But if you're trying to sell products to people who've never heard of you before, it's not going to work. End of story. Okay. You're trying to sell products in the first 6 to 12 months of being on Facebook. And that honestly just doesn't work for 99% of artists. Okay. We can talk about why in depth a bit later, but let's just keep moving on. And the last thing is Facebook ads. There's probably 1,000 permutations of a Facebook ad that you could possibly create. You need to have the right objective and the right audience, and doing that yourself for the first time is really, really hard. Okay. Most people will fail, and most people will waste a lot of money. And I'll put my hand up, and I can tell you honestly that I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on Facebook ads trying to work it out myself. Okay. It's damn near impossible to do well yourself straight up. Okay. You need help. So that's where I'm starting from. Okay. Finding the right audience is the key to success with Facebook ads. But again, success depends on what you're talking about. But starting with the right audience is the hard thing. Now, when I work with my clients, I teach my clients how to run their ads and how to recycle the ads that I've created for them. The one thing I really can't teach them is this finding the audience bit, right? And it's not because it's not teachable. It's just that it comes from thousands of ads and tens of thousands of dollars of experience. So I can't teach you that really quickly. It just doesn't work. It comes with experience. So when we work with a client for 90 days, at the end of 90 days, what we're trying to do is just get them comfortable in the Facebook ad platform, comfortable enough to be able to recycle the ads we've created for them in the past. Okay. And we do have some twists on that, but the reality is the audience is the one part I can't teach anybody in a short period of time, because it's just not possible. It takes experience and it takes time. Okay. So when you're trying to do this for yourself, the first time, most likely you're going to fail, because it's not something that's easy, and you need to understand the indicators, what's working, what isn't working, to be able to adapt and adjust as you go. And right now that's even harder because of the changes that have been implemented in the Facebook platform in the last few months. So the question becomes, why do we want to do Facebook ads, right? Why not use Google ads? Why not do something else? And as I mentioned just very briefly before, Facebook ads and Instagram ads are the same thing. Okay. You can run an ad on just Facebook or just on Instagram or on both platforms, and the partner platforms together. And that's the way we generally run an ad. For a client, we will run an ad across all of the Facebook platforms together. And basically we let the algorithm choose the best place for our ad. Okay. And I hope that makes sense. Why do we use Facebook ads? Because right now, they're still the best bang for your buck of any other type of marketing. Okay. If you took, say $1,000 and you spent that on TV, that might get you 1 or 2 TV slots, 30-second ads. If you took $1,000 and spent that on radio, you might get, if you were lucky, 2 minutes of radio time worth of ads for that $1,000. $1,000 on Facebook can go a very long way. And if you spend it well, you can actually build yourself an asset. And what I mean by an asset is you can build your email list, because your email list is the most effective way to spend your money on Facebook ads, especially if you're starting from scratch. Okay. And we'll talk about that later. But I still haven't found a better method to generate leads and to be consistent with the money that we spend, even in these tougher times on Facebook. Facebook ads are still the best possible way to spend your marketing dollars advertising your business. Okay. So that, for me, it comes down to that Facebook right now is still the best place to spend your money. What are the common issues with ads? What are the issues that people who are trying to do an ad for themselves for the first time face? Okay, so the obvious one is incorrect targeting, right? And that, no question, is absolutely the problem for a lot of newbies, because targeting is the hardest bit. Okay, but then, you know, again, that's only one part of creating a Facebook ad. So the first thing you have to do is decide, when you create an ad, what your objective is. Are you trying to drive traffic? Are you trying to create leads? Are you trying to get a conversion event? All these sorts of things, and becomes, there's a whole separate language that you need to understand when you're trying to create an ad. And when you look at it, you go, oh, I think I'm trying to do this, or I'm trying to do that. And if you're not sure what you're trying to do, you can often just spend your money badly, even if you've got your audience right, because you're asking Facebook to do the wrong thing for you. Okay, so if you're asking Facebook to drive you a lead, but you haven't set up your lead form correctly, or you're not driving the traffic to your website correctly, there's all sorts of mistakes that you can make that can mean that you've got the incorrect goal or ad type to start with. Okay, then of course, the big mistake that I see everybody making is they put an ad up and say, buy my stuff, right? And obviously people use better language than that, but the purpose of the ad is to advertise your website to sell your stuff. And I can tell you unequivocally, absolutely, you will not sell any art of substance to anybody who's never heard of you before. Now, you may get a random sale. You might pick up a $50 or $100 or even a $200 sale, but you'll get one. You will not get any consistent customers out of running cold ads to sell your stuff. It's just the reality of marketing art, full stop. Okay, but what you can do, and what you can do really effectively, is show people your art and invite them to join your email list, right? And that is a really effective way to use your money to grow your list, to grow your business. Okay. Lack of testing and lack of adjustments. Now, we're in client accounts all the time. We're adjusting audiences, we're adjusting objectives, we're adjusting budgets along the way, where we see things are changing and we need to react to the situation. Okay, some accounts we might go in once a month, some accounts we might go in 20 times a month, we might go in every single day. If things aren't working, the more things aren't working, the more time we'll spend on something to try and get it right. But again, when I come to this, I'm coming from a position of experience. I can honestly tell you I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads, right? Not on my own money, mind you, but I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads over thousands of ads across hundreds of accounts. So I can see what's happening on one account and see if that's reflected in another account and adjust and react accordingly. You can't do that if you're only looking at your little portion of the world. So you don't understand what's going on, and you can't reference that relative to what else is going on. Okay. And even referencing your work to between this month and that last month, if you're not looking at the right numbers, then you really can't necessarily understand what's going on. Okay, so that's the advantage of working with someone who has experience in ads, full stop. But the testing, adjusting along the way is really important. But then the final thing that I see that people have as an issue with ads, and again, it sort of relates to point 3, trying to sell to ads, but they're expecting the wrong results from an ad. Okay, so someone has put an ad up and they're expecting a sale, or they're expecting 1,000 people to come to their website from $50 worth of ads, or whatever it is. They're not setting the expectation right with what they're trying to achieve with their ad. And often the ad is doing this and your expectations over here, or vice versa. So really having an understanding of what's going on within your business goals as well as your Facebook makes a big difference to where you go and how you feel about that too. And in my last few sessions, I've talked about mindset and how mindset affects you. And I really see that one of the big mindset effectors or factors in affecting your mindset is how things are going for you, right? Now, if you spent a couple $100 on ads and got absolutely nothing out of it, now obviously that's going to have a negative effect on your mindset. So it's those sorts of things that play on us and that we need to focus on, that make a difference in our lives. Okay, so these are the things that go wrong. Let's talk about other issues and factors. Okay, so when it comes to targeting, we use some really basic things. Okay, now when we're starting with a new client, obviously our targeting at the beginning is different to what we get to do over time, because we have to start somewhere. And the client who has say 100 Facebook followers, or I was talking to someone today has 20 Facebook followers. Okay, so we're starting from zero basically. Okay, they've got 10 people on their email list. So we have to make some basic assumptions. Now, these are the basic assumptions that we use as a starting point, and then we go from there. Okay, so with age. Now, we don't target anybody generally unless the client has a very young target market with their art. We don't target generally people below 35. And we don't target over 64. And this isn't because we don't want people in their 60s to be buying. It's just that Facebook has this anomaly where they have age brackets from 13 to 64. And, each individual age. And then after 64, it's just 65 plus. So 65 plus, there's no differentiator between someone who's 65 and someone who's 95. And obviously we don't want to target people at that upper end. So we actually make a call, a judgment call. And over time, we've learned that we go from 35 to 64, and that works quite well for us. Okay. Now, generally, we would only target in your own country. However, for some people in the US, they like to target Canada as well, and vice versa. People in Canada like to target the US as well, obviously, because the Canadian market is much smaller than the US market. But we're able to do that. Something that we're using a little bit less at the moment because it's become slightly less reliable, but we still do use it for some clients, is we use an income criteria to filter the quality of the potential leads. Okay, so obviously we don't want someone who's on a fixed income pension necessarily to be on our email list if they can't afford to spend $50 or $100. Okay, so using an income criteria works. The only catch with the income criteria is that it only works in the USA. There is no other country in the world that you're able to use an income criteria. And at the moment, this is becoming less reliable. So we're still using it for some people. We're not using it for everybody. Okay. Where someone has an existing audience, then we're able to leverage that existing audience to help find new people. So that's called a lookalike audience. So for instance, one of my clients, and he's not here today, but he would be happy for me to talk about him, Rick Burke, which some of you would know. He has over 20,000 followers on Facebook. Okay. So we're able to leverage his Facebook audience to create a lookalike audience to test that against some interest-based audience and see which one performs better. Right. So it gives us an opportunity to do an A/B test effectively on your audience, and an audience based on our assumptions and our criteria that we've built for your art. Okay. Now, and the last point, which is really important with audience targeting, is there is no hard and fast rule. Okay. There is no one set of audiences that I can pull and it will work for everybody. It's not how it works. Okay. So we start with some basic assumptions and we test them. Good question on the audience, Carol. If we're using an audience to create a lookalike audience, we want a minimum of 3,000, ideally 5,000 plus, for it to be useful. You can create a lookalike audience from 1,100, but the quality of that lookalike audience will be really low and probably has no value in actually testing value. Okay. London, I'm going to come to your question in a little while, mate. So I'm just going to leave that alone for the moment. Okay. Now, when it comes to audiences, it's really important to understand, I believe there's 3 types of audiences. Okay, so a cold audience is really simple. So for starters, they have never heard of you, never ever heard of you, your work, never seen your work before, but they're interested in things similar to yours. So I'm a landscape photographer. I love my sunrises on the beach. I love my waterfalls. So we're able to target people based on sunrise, beach, waterfalls, rainforest, those sorts of things, but they've never heard of me or my work. Okay, does that make sense? So that's a cold audience. So they just don't know who I am, but they're interested in things that's similar to my work. A warm audience is different in that a warm audience person has interacted with you in some way, shape, or form. They visited your website, they've liked to post on Instagram, they've commented on something, they've interacted with you online or on social media. Now, there's a bunch of different audiences that we create, but they're based around either your social media interaction or your website interaction. But these people are at a point where they know who you are, but they're not at the point where they like or trust you yet. Okay, so they're still building a relationship with you as an artist, with you and your work. And it's really important to understand that everything we do related to selling art is about building relationships with our audience. The more people get to like and trust you, the more chance you have of selling your work to them. End of story. Okay, so like and trust is really, really important. They have to know who you are firstly, then they need to get to like you and trust you before they will buy. And that brings us to the last group of people in the list, which we call a remarketing audience. Okay, and it's called different things by different people. You could just call it a hot audience or a, very warm, whatever. But a remarketing audience is someone who knows you, where they were at the position of liking and trusting you as well, right? Well, they've given indicators that they like and trust you. And these are the most likely people to buy. Okay, so they're the ones that we focus our efforts on trying to sell to. Now, this is really important. I'm going to say this twice because I think it's really important. A cold audience and a warm audience, we never try and sell to. Never, ever. Because you're just wasting your time. The only thing we're interested in doing with a cold audience and a warm audience is starting to build a relationship or deepening that relationship. Okay, we never ever try and sell to those people. The only people we try and sell to is our remarketing audience. Okay, so let me be clear. We do not ever try and sell to a cold audience or a warm audience, and we only try to sell to a remarketing audience. Okay, now some people may be in the cusp of different things, but it's really hard to define individually how one person falls. So what we do is we focus on them as groups. Okay, and if you keep it simple, cold audiences and warm audiences, the best thing you can do with them when you're advertising is add them to your email list and find a way to add them to your email list. A remarketing audience is someone who's engaged with you many times and they're more likely to be in a position to buy. And what we're trying to do with those people is take them from being a browser to a buyer, right? Turn them into a customer. Once they're a customer, then your goal is different. Your goal isn't to turn them into a repeat customer. Is ideally you want to turn them into a collector, right? It's nice if someone buys 1 or 2 things. It's really nice if someone starts collecting and buys 5 or 6 or 7 things. So your goal is different for each group. But if you keep it simple, cold and warm audiences, your only goal is to A, try and get them on your email list, and then B, build a relationship with them. But the whole thing is about building relationships. Whereas your remarketing people, yes, you need to still build relationships to them. And you need to focus on the relationship with these people because they're the most important people when it comes to your relationships. But they're the only group of people that you try and sell to. Right? Personally, I only run 3 or 4 sales a year. And I don't use sales language for 95% of the emails that I send. Right? Even when I'm telling them about something new that they can buy, I don't use sales language. I just tell them about it. as if I was telling a friend about something new, cool that I saw down the shops. So that's really important. You don't want to try and push hard when you're trying to sell. Okay, so going into look at cold audiences a little bit more deeply. So a cold audience, this includes lookalike audiences, right? So a lookalike audience is, let's use that example we had of Rick before. Rick's got 20,000 people who follow me on Facebook. We're able to use that group to then identify another group of 25 million people based on the extrapolation that you're able to do in Facebook, to identify an audience of 25 million people who are similar to those 20,000 people. Okay, that's a lookalike audience. And what we do is then test that by running an ad to it. Okay, but the other way to do a cold audience ad is we use those basic criteria first, like I said, so 35 to 64 in your country, perhaps an income criteria. And then we say, okay, your work, let's use my work, for example. So beaches, sunrises, sunsets, waterfalls. You know, we may pick specific locations. So for those of you who know Australia, I haven't got many photos, but I have some photos from Bondi Beach. So I might include Bondi Beach or Newcastle, or wherever it is, locations as well, to create a criteria. And then what we do is, if we've got a big enough lookalike audience, then we'll run a lookalike audience and an interest-based audience side by side and see which one performs better. And that's the ideal situation, but often we can't do that. So we're just starting with an interest-based audience, and then we're working with that over time to get the best possible result. Okay, over time, we should be able to build a lookalike audience because we're using the Facebook ads to drive traffic, which allows us to grow our audiences, which then allows us to create lookalike audiences. So it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy over time, but in the short term, you have to spend money to build your audience and to build your email list. Okay. And just on that point, I think this is really important to state. I get asked regularly, when do I stop building my email list? When's enough? I can honestly tell you, most of you know I run Natalie's business. Natalie is a painter of Australian wildlife, and her work, I run her online business. So I run the business completely. You can see one of her pictures on the wall over here. And we spend between $400 and $600 a month just on lead generation. Okay, so we're growing the email list. The email list is just under 15,000 right now. My goal for this year, for 2020, is to get it to 2021, to get it to 20,000 people. Okay, so we're going to continue to spend money growing that email list every single month to get to 20,000. Once we get to 20,000, the next goal is 25, then 30, and then, you know, I'd like to have 50,000 people on the email list. So there's no stopping point, right? We're lucky we have a six-figure business now, so that also helps generate the income to cover the cost of that advertising. But at the very least, you should be spending $100, $200 a month on advertising and building your business, okay? And we'll come to that in a little while. Warm audience. So again, this is someone who's interacted with you and your business in some way or shape or form. Now, if you've got your pixel set up properly on your website and you're creating audiences based off the pixel, you've got three options of groups of people that you can target right now. So people who interact with you on Facebook, people who interact with you on Instagram, assuming you've got both, and people who visit your website and interact with your website. There's three groups there. So those groups are your warm audiences, and they are still a useful form of generating leads. They can be more expensive than cold leads, strangely enough. And part of that is because the audience generally is smaller, but they are still useful. And because you can leverage them as lookalikes as well, they become even more useful. Okay, but again, when you're talking about warm audiences, you're not trying to sell to them. Now, I'm really passionate about this because I think this is one of the biggest mistakes people make. They assume that someone who's following you on Instagram or someone who's following you on Facebook is ready to buy. And that's just not the case. They need to know, like, and trust you before they're going to buy. And if you haven't spent the time, and for most people, that's at least 6 months, usually 12 months, to build someone up to that point of trust where they're going to buy and spend serious money. If you haven't spent that time, then you're just wasting your time and your effort on trying to sell to those people. Okay. So don't do it. Remarketing audiences. So again, these are the people most likely to buy. These are people who've added a product to a cart. They've looked at specific products in your store, not just looked at the gallery, but gone in and had a look at specific products. They're people who are on your email list. Okay. Not everybody that's done these things is going to be a potential buyer, right? But this is the group of people, the only group of people that you try and sell to. But again, 90% of your communication, if not 95% of your communication to these people, should be around relationships, right? Telling them stories, helping them get to know you and your art, because that is what sells, right? People understanding you, people understanding your art and being passionate about what you do. That's what sells art. Doesn't matter whether it's a photograph or a painting or a sculpture. It doesn't matter what it is. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the relationship that you've built up between you, the person, and your art. It's a three-way relationship. Okay, but these are the only people that you're trying to sell to. What do we spend money on? Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, these are the only two things we spend money on. And these are the only two things that I recommend my clients spend money on when it comes to Facebook ads. A, generating leads. So adding someone to your email list. That's what I mean by that. So I don't care what system you use, what platform you're on, whether you're on MailChimp, on art storefronts, whatever it is. The idea is to get someone on your email list. End of story. Generally, we target cold audiences, and if you've got a warm audience, we could possibly spend some of your advertising dollars on a warm audience, but we will test it, because if it's not performing, then we don't waste our money. Okay, but that's number one thing. So generating leads is absolutely critical to growing your business. And I'll explain why in a moment, why we focus on generating leads for cold audiences. Number two, generating sales. But generating sales only happens to remarketing audiences. And for the majority of artists, that's at least 12 months away. So we're not going to generate sales tomorrow. I guarantee all of my clients one thing when I talk to them. I guarantee them that when we work together, that I am not going to make a single cent for them in the first 6 months, right? Not a single dollar. All I'm going to do is spend money, right? And the reality is that we probably won't make any money for 12 months. But if you go into it understanding that this is a long-term project, and that if you invest the time and the money up front, in the long term, you're going to build a real business that's able to derive serious income. But if you think you can turn on the tap, start generating income tomorrow, it just doesn't work that way. Okay. So we spend money only on two things. One, generating leads. Two, generating sales. Now we're going to come to that in a second. We do not, because I think this is just as important as what we do, what we don't do. We don't ever boost. Now, there is a way to boost that's almost like a real ad, okay? But for the majority of people, they see that boost, spend $20, boost this post, right? You might as well just donate your money straight to Facebook, because that's what it is. It's not an effective use of your money, okay? We do not pay for normal web traffic. So we're not paying for likes or people visiting your website or engagement, full stop. We never do it. We have some clients that ask us to do it, and I will do it reluctantly, but after we've had a good conversation about it, because I honestly think it's a waste of your money. Okay. Importantly, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. We do not try and sell to cold traffic. You're just wasting your time. Okay. And we don't do ads just because. Now, I've had many conversations with people that say, I want to do some ads. Why do you want to do some ads? Because I think I should. Okay, so what's the goal of your ads? I just want to do some ads. Okay. So again, donate to Facebook. If that's your focus on your ads, then that's what you're doing. You're just donating money straight to Facebook. If you focus your ads on generating leads or generating sales only, then you'll succeed on Facebook ads. But if you try and do other things or spread your money too thinly, then you're wasting your time. Okay, so I'm not trying to be harsh. These are the hard lessons that I've learned, and I know this because I've wasted thousands of dollars myself trying to work this stuff out. So I'm doing this to help you guys. Okay, 5 ways to fix your ads. Now this is really simple. If you're running ads right now and doing them yourself, these are my 5 tips to help you, right? Don't boost ever. Just don't do it. If you've got a boost on right now, turn it off. You're wasting your money, okay? Don't pay for likes or engagement. Don't pay to get your Facebook page to 1,000 likes, okay? Now, let me explain that. Last year in particular, and it was still a little bit prevalent at the beginning of this year, but last year during the US election and the lead up to the US election, Facebook was banning pages left, right, and center for absolutely no reason at all, right? Just randomly banning pages, right? Because they were trying to make themselves look like they were actively rooting out corruption in the election process. That was their reason for doing it, but they randomly blocked dozens, thousands of pages. And I know a lot of artists got caught up in that. Several artists got caught up that I am aware of, got caught up with decent sized pages. So a few thousand people following them that lost their page, right? So if you spent say $1,000 trying to get your page likes up to 1,000 or whatever, or 2,000 even, and then Facebook just bans your page, they don't give you your money back. That's just gone, right? The reason I focus on using ads to generate leads, apart from the fact that it is really cost-effective way to build your business, is that no matter what happens on Facebook tomorrow or next week or next month or in a year's time, you will always own your email list, right? Facebook can't take away your email list because it's not on Facebook, right? If you decide that you want to go to a different platform for your mail, you don't like MailChimp anymore, you want to go somewhere else, you export your whole list, you take it across. Likewise, if you decide to leave, if you're on Art Storefronts and say you just wanted to go back to Shopify or something else, right? You export all your data, you take it with you, you own that data. If someone follows you on Facebook and you've wasted your money trying to build Facebook followings and Facebook bans your page, all you can do is start again from zero. Okay, and you've wasted all of that money, so don't do it. Don't try to sell to cold audiences. Now, you might say, I'm going to prove you wrong, John. Go for it, right? All you're going to do is prove to yourself that you can waste a lot of money on ads and get almost no sales. You might get one $20 sale or $150 or even $100 sale, but I guarantee you're not going to generate sales long-term from cold audiences. It just doesn't work. So just don't do it. Okay. Our experience is that generating leads on Facebook is one of the most effective uses of Facebook ads. There are a bunch of things you can do, but I can tell you that Facebook ads generating leads is a really effective way to do it. So if you're going to spend money on marketing, that's one thing I can tell you, that regardless of what else happens, you're going to have an asset at the end. When you're building an art business, I believe you have 2 key assets, right? One is your portfolio. Obviously, your work, whether it's originals or prints or a photographer like myself, your portfolio, that's your main asset, absolutely. But your next most valuable asset in your business is your email list, okay? And the more you grow your email list, the stronger your business is. It's that simple. Okay, understanding your cold, warm, and remarketing audiences and using ads appropriately for them. So this comes down to, first example, don't try and sell to a cold audience. Focus on relationships. Focus on getting someone on your email list. Getting someone on your email list is the starting point. Daniel, I'll come to that, and Courtney, I'll come to that again. But yeah, just focus on targeting the right people for the right outcome. And that's a key way to not waste time on your ads. So let's come back to some of these questions. So Mike asked about Instagram. Yes, Facebook ads and Instagram ads are the same animal. Okay, it's exactly the same controls, and you can turn them on or off depending on which platform you want to market on. Generally, we market across all platforms. Okay. London, do I run a course on ads? No, not a course. What we do, and I'm going to talk about it in more depth in a minute, what we do is we help our clients set up a lead generation machine, and we call it a machine for two reasons. One, because once it's working, it's low maintenance. So you're not having to spend a lot of time on it. But two, it's repeatable. So what we do in July, we can do similar in August and September and October and keep doing it. And what I found that this is a really effective way for you as an artist to focus on the thing that really matters, right? Because Facebook ads, Facebook itself is a tool, right? Now, I don't know anybody who's gone into the art business and has gone, I want to spend all my time on Facebook, right? I want to spend every day, all day on Facebook, right? The reality is, if you're a painter, you want to do two things. You want to either create or you want to be talking to your clients, right? And building a relationship with your clients. You don't want to spend your time sitting in front of a computer marketing, okay? So instead, what you need to do is find an effective way to do that. So, you know, as a photographer, I'd rather spend my time on the beach than in front of the computer. So you need to find the most effective way for you to spend your time. If you use ads to help you build your email list, then your focus as an artist is purely on building relationships with those people on the email list. Okay, breaks it down. You're not trying to find new people. You're not trying to find the best of the new 50 new tactics that have come out this week to help you build your marketing. You're just focusing your effort on letting the leads come in on a daily basis, and you're just focusing on building relationships with those people. Honestly, it makes a huge difference to both your mindset and your workload if you're not trying to find all of these new things. Okay, so what we do is we show our clients, we build a machine for our clients to help them generate leads on a monthly basis, and then we show them how to reuse that machine and keep it running month to month. And London, we've had a chat, but you know, if you want to ask me any more questions, just shoot me an email, mate. Let's keep going. Courtney, do you want to romance our audiences by ads? No, I don't think you need to spend any money romancing your audience on ads. Right now, I'm aware that Art Storefronts has a warm ads strategy, right? But they have a warm ad strategy for a different reason to what I believe that we need a warm ad strategy. So let me just jump on that for a second. And I understand where the strategy comes from, and I also agree with the reasoning behind the strategy. So Art Storefronts does not recommend that you do cold ads, right? And I agree, you should not run cold ads on your own because you will waste your money. We run cold ads on behalf of our clients, and we do that because we have, and you know, like I said before, I've run thousands of ads over hundreds of accounts and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I can run cold ads for you in a way and set them up in a way that we're generally not wasting your money. Okay. And we're certainly going to do a much better job than 99% of other artists trying to do it themselves. So Art Storefronts can't tell you to do cold ads because they can't teach you how to do it. I can't teach you how to do cold ads. I can teach you how to recycle what I've built for you. There's a difference. Okay. So instead, they recommend you spend money on warm ads because Facebook is a pay for play environment today. As a business owner, you need to spend some money on Facebook to get some love from Facebook. But we're spending our money on Facebook generating leads, so we don't need to spend money generating likes and engagement. I hope that makes sense, Courtney. I think there's a huge difference between the results you get if you just spend your money on leads to the results that you get in your business, actual results in your business that you get from spending money on likes and engagement. Okay. Can I give you an example of an ad to generate? Yeah, so sort of, Daniel. The copy of the ad doesn't mean much to you, right? And I can certainly show you the copy of an ad. It's not the copy of the ad that makes the difference. And again, every artist is different. It's the audience that makes the difference. It's the results that we get that make the difference. Okay, so me showing you the copy of an ad, and I will, because I really liked people to understand what's going on. The copy of an ad doesn't help you get to the end. It's all about the audience. Okay, so let me just find one. I've got too many tabs open. Let's manage. So I'm just going to drag this across in a sec. Let me find it first. But you know, the whole idea of a lead generation ad is purely to get someone to your website. We use print giveaways as the most effective way to do that. Okay, and to generate a lead, print giveaways are the most effective way to do that. I still haven't found a better method. If there's a better method, then I'll pick it up. Absolutely. But right now, the best way to generate leads on Facebook using ads is a print giveaway. And Facebook is being really slow. Let me go. Okay, here we are. We're almost there. So seeing an ad, you know, you can get a feel for it, but at the end of the day, it's not the be all and the end all of the process. So in this case, in this ad, we're giving away 3 calendars. Now, I'm going to give you a word of warning on calendars because I have tried this in the US and it just doesn't work. So don't think that running ads, selling calendars in the US is necessarily going to work for you. Okay, let me change that to desktop feed. Okay, so this is the ad that's running right now. It's a print give. It's actually not a print giveaway. It's a calendar giveaway. We're giving away 3 calendars this month. This is running a video. We're actually running dynamic content. So we're running a video well, that's actually not even a video. That's just a moving still. So it's a print giveaway. That's it. This particular ad is running about 20 versions because we have got videos and different things. But you can see, like, it's not that complicated. There's nothing complex in the front end of the ad, the way it looks. The complexity and the mistakes that can be made in setting the ad up and getting the audience right. Okay. And honestly, I can't give you a template for that because it won't work for you. We have to do that for each person as it is. Where am I at? I want to grow my audience and leads, very, very small amount of leads on my website. Yeah. This is exactly what we do, London. And I'm going to talk about that in the same. So yes, and it's exactly the same on Instagram. The disadvantage of using Instagram, in my mind, is that you can't share links on Instagram. So you can't drive someone directly to your website from a post. And that's the downside of Instagram. Feedback. Yeah, Daniel, I've tried it, mate. It doesn't work. Nobody cares. So yeah, we give them a physical print and we send a physical print. A physical print costs you less than $50 a month, including shipping and production. So that's the most effective way we've found. So let me talk about what we do. So we work with artists And in the last 2 years, I've worked with, I think it's 250 odd artists on art storefronts and off the platform elsewhere. And we do one thing and we do really well, is we help you build your email list. And then we show you how to run the system and we give you the confidence to run it on your own. Okay. Myself and Glenda, my assistant, we're here to help you through the whole process, and we hold your hand as much as we need to. And at the end of the 90 days, it's not see you later, have a good day, we don't even want to talk to you again. At the end of the 90 days, we offer ongoing support if you need it, but we also say to all of our clients, if you've got a problem where you get stuck in 6 months' time, just ask. We're happy to help. Okay, so our audience builder program is 90 days. It runs for 3 months. It's normally $999 US. Okay, and for anybody who isn't on art storefronts, it's $999. If you're on art storefronts, 2 things I'm going to do for you today. One, discount is $799, so it's $800. And if you book an audience builder, if you book a call between now and the end of the month, which is a few days away, I'll do a one-on-one Zoom call with you, whether it's on targeting, goal setting, mindset, whatever it is, a 1 hour one-on-one call with you as well, which is valued at $200. We'll do that for free. So I'll include that in the email that I'll send to you all after the session. Are there any other questions? Because we're getting close to finish time. I'm happy to answer those questions, and I will clarify this. I'm just going to drop this in here. Are there any other questions? London, we've already chatted, mate. Just drop me an email and ask me any more questions. So, we're sort of, I think we've gone past that initial conversation. So that's here for anybody who's interested, wants to know more. The phone call is free. So if you want to have a phone call and have a chat, right, at the end of the phone call, if you decide this isn't for you, that's cool, right? I'm completely at peace with that. I'd rather have the conversation, and I require everybody who I work with to have that conversation, because I want to make sure we're both on the same page before we start working together. Okay, so if you're interested in at least having a conversation, book a call. The link's there, and I'll send this out to you in email as well. But yeah, I know this works. We've done it for hundreds of other artists, and this is the process that I'm using in my business today, every single day. That ad you saw was for a business that I run, right? This is a business that I own in partnership with a friend of mine who's a painter. She provides all the intellectual property, and we run the business together. Okay, so this is tactics that we know work, and they continue to work on a daily basis, and this is what we're doing. Okay, so if you've got any questions, shoot me an email. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to catching up with you all again in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure where the next webinar will be, but I'll let you know via email very shortly. Have a great day, guys. Catch you later. Bye-bye.